Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Radha Kalachandji, Radhe Radhe, Radha Kalachandji, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Shri Radhe. Damodara. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Nitar Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So, we're reading such an interesting chapter. This is Canto 6, Chapter 1, about Ajamil. And today we're going to read from text 30 to 40.
My dear king, the order carriers of Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas, immediately arrived when they heard the holy name of their master from the mouth of the dying Ajamil, who had certainly chanted without offense because he had chanted in complete anxiety.
The order, excuse me. The order carriers of Yamaraj were snatching the soul from the core of the heart of the Ajamil, the husband of the prostitute. With resounding voices of the messengers of the Lord, Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas forbade him to do so.
Just to give a little preview of what's happening, we all know Yamadutas and Vishnu Dutas are there. Ajamil saw the Yamadutas and he got really scared and he cried out Narayan, the name of his son. And read this word translation that Prabhu just read. It is so just imagine how real it is. The order carriers of Yamaraj were snatching the soul from the core of the heart of Ajamil. So this also tells us that where does our soul lie? It is situated in the heart. And inside that heart is also Krishna. So the soul and super soul is there together. And whenever the transmigration happens from one body to another, when the soul transmigrates, the super soul also travels along with the soul. So it's like that one best friend that we always have, right? This friend forever, this personality. Krishna is always with us. And right now, the Yamadutas are trying to snatch that soul. So yeah, we can go ahead.
When the order carriers of Yamaraj, the son of the sun god, were thus forbidden, they replied, "Who are you, sirs, that have the audacity to challenge the jurisdiction of Yamaraj?"
So these order carriers, they perform their service so nicely. Any sinful living entity who is leaving his or her body, the Yamadutas are there and and they carry that soul. And this has never happened before, that Vishnu Dutas have appeared there, and they are stopping. They're stopping them, like, you cannot do this job. And they are surprised, like, this has never happened before, and how do you have the audacity to stop us? Yeah.
33. Dear sirs, whose servants are you? Where have you come from? And why are you forbidding us to touch the body of Ajamil? Are you demigods from the heavenly planets? Are you sub-demigods? Or are you the best of devotees?
The order carriers of Yamaraj said, "Your eyes are just like the petals of lotus flowers, dressed in yellow silken garments, decorated with garlands of lotuses, and wearing very attractive helmets on your heads and earrings on your ears. You all appear fresh and youthful. Your 4 long arms are decorated with bows and quivers of arrows, and with swords, clubs, conch shells, discs, and lotus flowers. Your effulgence has dissipated the darkness of this place with extraordinary illumination. Now, sirs, why are you obstructing us?"
So even though they are stopping them, they are very respectful, and they're first glorifying. They're glorifying how they're looking, their eyes, because Vishnu Dutas are like very great personalities. They're looking extremely beautiful here. We can see that, we can read the description. And they are inquiring, who are you? Yeah.
Dev Goswami continued, "Being thus addressed by the messengers of Yamaraj, the servants of Vasudev smiled and spoke the following words in voices as deep as the sound of rumbling clouds.
The blessed messengers of Lord Vishnu and Vishnudai said, "If you are actually servants of Yamara, you must explain to us the meaning of religious principles and the symptoms of a religion."
What is the process of punishing others? Who are the actual candidates for punishment? Are all karmis engaged in fruitive activities punishable, or only some of them?
So this is a very relevant query the Vishnu Dutas are asking. If you're claiming that you're going to take this soul, do you even know what is religion, what is dharma? And are all living entities supposed to be punished? So they're inquiring them. They already know the answers, but they want to know, like, who are these personalities, and how come? Because they know the history of Ajamil, Vishnu Dutas. They know why they are here. So further we'll discuss about this point in detail, but okay, we can go ahead.
What is the process of punishing others? Who are the actual candidates for punishment? Are all karmis engaged in fruitive activities punishable, or only some of them?
Yamadutas replied that which is prescribed the Vedas consists of Dharma, the religious principles are opposite of is religion. Vedas stress the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not Raniya, and self-born, and have heard the Yamaraj.
So this is also the, we read till 40 only today, and Prabhuji, maybe you can read the purport. We can recite the verse and then you can read the purport. First we'll recite the verse and then, 40, yes. Yamaduta uchaha Yamaduta Uchuha Veda Pranihito Dharmo Hya Dharmastad Viparyayaha Vedo Narayana Sakshat Swayam Bhuriti Sushruma Yamaduta Uchaha Veda Pranihito Dharmo Hya Dharmastad Viparyayaha Vedo Narayana Sakshat Swayam Bhuriti Sushruma Yamadutu Uchuhu Veda Pranihito Dharmo Ya Dharmastad Viparyayaha Vedo Narayana Sakshat Ya Swayam Bhuyati Sushma Yamaduta Uchuhu Veda Pranihito Dharmo Yada Dharmastad Viparyayaha Vedo Narayana Sakshat Swayambhuriti Sushma Yamadutu Uchaha Veda Pranihito Dharmo Ya Dharmastad Viparyayaha Vedo Narayana Sakshat Swayambhuriti Sushma. Any Mataji? Yamadutu Uchuhu Veda Pranihito Dharmo Ya Dharmastad Viparyayaha Vedo Narayana Sakshat Swayambhuriti Sushma. Word by word translation. Yamadutaha Uchuhu. We can recite together. Yamaduta Uchuhu. The order carriers of Yamaraj said, Veda, by the four Vedas, Sam, Yajur, Rig and Atharv. Pranihitaha, prescribed. Dharmaha, religious principles. He, indeed. Adharmaha, irreligious principles. Tat Viparyaha, the opposite of that which is not supported by Vedic injunctions. Vedaha, the Vedas, the books of knowledge. Narayanaha Sakshat, directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being the words of Narayan. Swayambhuhu, self-born, self-sufficient, appearing from the breath of Narayan and not being learnt from anyone else. Iti, thus. Shrushtuma, we have heard. These two words are very important. Narayana Sakshat, which means the scriptures are Narayan himself. And Shrushtuma, we have heard. We'll read the importance of this. Translation, Mahisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Yamadutas replied, that which is prescribed in the Vedas constitutes dharma, the religious principles, and the opposite of that is irreligion. The Vedas are directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, and are self-born. This we have heard from Yamaraj. Would you like to read the purport, Prabhuji?
The servants of Yamaraj replied quite properly. They did not manufacture principles of religion or irreligion. Instead, they explained what they had heard from the authority Yamaraj. Mahajano yena gata supanta. One should follow the Mahajan, the authorized person. Yamaraj is one of the 12 authorities. Therefore, the servants of Yamaraj, the Yamadutas, replied with perfect clarity when they said, Shushrama, we have heard. The members of modern civilization manufacture defective religious principles through speculative concoction. This is not dharma. They do not know what is dharma and what is adharma. Therefore, as stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, dharma projita kaitavutra, dharma not supported by the Vedas is rejected from Srimad Bhagavat dharma. Bhagavad dharma comprises only that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad dharma is sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. One must accept the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender to Him. And whatever He says, that is dharma. Arjuna, for example, thinking that violence was adharma, was declining to fight, but Krishna urged him to fight. Arjuna abided by the orders of Krishna, and therefore he is actually a dharmi, because the order of Krishna is dharma. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedescha sarve ahameva vidyo. The real purpose of Veda knowledge is to know me. One who knows Krishna perfectly is liberated. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4:9, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjun. One who understands Krishna and abides by his order is a candidate for returning home back to Godhead. It may be concluded that dharma, religion, refers to that which is ordered in the Vedas, and adharma, irreligion, refers to that which is not supported in the Vedas. Dharma is not actually manufactured by Narayan. As stated in the Vedas, Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishvasitam Etad Yad Rigveda iti. The injunctions of dharma emanate from the breathing of Narayan, the supreme living entity. Narayan exists eternally and breathes eternally, and therefore, dharma, the injunctions of Narayan, also exist eternally. Srila Madhvacharya, the original Acharya for those who belong to the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, says, Vedanam pratamo vakta harir eva yato vibhu ato Vishnu atmaka veda itya ahur veda vadinaha. The transcendental words of the Vedas emanated from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Vedic principles should be understood to be Vaishnava principles, because Vishnu is the origin of the Vedas. The Vedas contain nothing besides the instructions of Vishnu, and one who follows the Vedic principles is a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava is not a member of a manufactured community of this material world. A Vaishnava is a real knower of the Vedas, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Vedescha sarver ahameva vidya.
Haribo. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshitarine. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Vishnu Dutas asked the question, what is dharma? Here in the purports, it describes that the Yamadutas who had appeared to take away the soul of Ajamil believed that Ajamil was very sinful, as we know that during his later stage of life, he had committed a lot of sins, and the Yamadutas were just doing their job. So they came, and at the same time Vishnu Dutas came, just when Ajamil cried out Narayan, even though his intention was not to remember the Supreme Lord. Just he was so attached to his son that he called out to him, and the Vishnu Dutas appeared. This also is such a nice proof that the moment we surrender to Krishna, instantly he will appear. He or his devotees will be there to protect you. Instantly, not even a second delay. Just you call out to Krishna and he will be there. Wow. That is so graphic. That's wow. So we will see in the later verses that Ajamil at this point is unconscious. The soul is still there in his heart and he is unconscious. He is laying down, and the whole argument or the whole conversation that will happen will decide the outcome, that who will take the soul home today. You know, who's going to win today? Who's going to take the soul home? And So it also describes, and we can see that the bodies of Yamadutas are a little odd. Like they're not pretty. They're quite scary, and that's why anybody who at the time of death who sees Yamadutas, it's like they're really scared, and that's why he called out to Narayan, his son. But the important part that we need to focus today is that no matter how somebody appears, how somebody looks, but the knowledge that they have to impart, that is of so much value. Here, what Yamaduta said was Shushruma, we have heard. They had heard from Yamaraj. Yamaraj was their master. And they said that this is what we have heard, that dharma is what is prescribed in the scriptures, in the Vedas. And we have heard this from our master, Yamaraj, who happens to be also one of the 12 Mahajanas. So which means even Yamadutas have that disciplic succession going on. Like they also want to follow the right dharma, the principles of religion. So, but you see in today's world, we don't see who has the right knowledge or what is the source, where is this person speaking from. What we see is that in the modern world, that if somebody has fame, position, beauty, people will listen to them. And that is why Prabhupada says when it's a godless society, it's like blind leading the blind. Because they have no right knowledge. They think that religion is something you can manufacture, but it's not. Spiritual knowledge has been always there since time immemorial. What is Vedas? Why do we also call it Shruti? Because it is what you hear from your guru, from your master, from your spiritual master. And it is carried forward in the disciplic succession. And so it came from Brahma to Narad Muni and to Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam for us. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from the Supreme Lord himself. Bhagavad Gita is not different from Krishna himself. So they say that dharma is what is prescribed in the scripture. So whenever we want to know what is our duty, dharma means our prescribed duty, what is right. And we might not know what is right, so that is why these scriptures are there, where we can take shelter of them. Or somebody who understands these scriptures, who can uncode it for us. Because our senses are still imperfect, that it might right be in front of us and we might not be able to comprehend what is Krishna's instructions. And that is why we need a spiritual master who can simplify or who can make us understand this instruction and the goal of life. So in these purports, a very interesting explanation is given that how the concept of, let's say, Yamadutas come, and which are the personalities that Yamadutas will go to? The living entities who have committed sins. Now, all of us have committed sins in the past and still might be committing some offenses or some sins. But in our scriptures, it is also prescribed in Manusmriti and different texts. It has been prescribed that you can atone for your sins. But is atonement the best way of life? We can atone for our sins, but that does not take away the propensity to commit another sin. I may have done many sinful activities, and I may do some yajna, or I can like there are ways written that you practice celibacy, or you do a lot of years of meditation, sadhana, and you do fast, Maunvrat. Like there are a lot of things that people can do, charity, and you can atone for your sins. But it does not guarantee that you will not commit another sin. So it's like constantly being in a vicious cycle. Just like Prabhupada gives an example, which you all might have heard, an elephant who takes bath in the water, in the lake. But what does he do once he comes out? He's all fresh, he's taken bath. With his trunk, he takes more mud and spills on himself, spills all over his body. So that's the same thing that we are doing. We are going through the water, cleansing ourselves through atonement, but we are coming back and throwing the mud of sins back in our consciousness. So we continue to be in this cycle where we are atoning and committing sin, atoning and then committing sin, which is a constant cycle, a vicious cycle that we cannot come out of until and unless we surrender to Krishna. And why is it that suddenly surrendering to Supreme Lord takes away our propensity to sin, will gradually take away the propensity to sin? Because you're being in a humble position where you have faith in Krishna, you're surrendering to Him. One thing it said that even if not by fully understanding, but even once you have surrendered to Krishna, even once, even that Krishna takes in account, and he is there to protect you. He takes the guarantee to protect you. Even if we are at the highest position, we can still fall down. We see in this story, Ajamil was practicing nicely. He was practicing his life and could be, doing bhakti and doing everything, feeding brahmanas. And why did he have that fall down? It can happen to any one of us. But why? Even if devotees can also fall down, then it's surprising, right? But still Krishna came. So what is that point that even a devotee who's practicing nicely his sadhana, his devotional activities, can come to this point? Because lust is very much there. There are three things that lead to hell. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that lust, greed, and anger. Lust, how does lust arrive in our heart, in our consciousness? Is when you constantly contemplate on an object of enjoyment, or you contemplate on that, you overthink, you obsess over it, and lust takes over your consciousness. It could be anything. When you feel that you are the enjoyer, and when you get frustrated with that, that is when anger comes, when you lose it, or when you're not getting enough enjoyment. The anger arrives within you. And when that anger is there, you might have seen that when somebody is extremely angry, eventually they lose their intelligence. They lose the power of discretion. What is intelligence? Intelligence is when you know when you can discriminate between right and wrong. But you can lose that power when anger overtakes you. So, here we see that Yamadutas are themselves not very educated, but because they have Shushruma, they have heard this knowledge of what is dharma, what is religion. They pass it on, they tell it, they practice this knowledge. And we even see this importance that iti Shushruma means what we hear. Even though our senses are imperfect, but the knowledge that we gain through hearing, it is purifying. Why do we say Hari Katha? Hari Katha is purifying because while we are listening to these, to the pastimes of Krishna, or we're reading these instructions from our scriptures, it takes away our sins. Even just hearing Hari Katha, it is so powerful. Just like when you clap, the birds will fly. So the birds of sin, the sins in our heart will fly when you're hearing Hari Katha, when you're chanting the holy name. So, even though Ajamil is not crying out the name with complete surrender to the Lord, but the moment he cries out, you see what here the intention is not to remember the Lord, but Krishna sees the action over here. He hears Narayan and he immediately sends his messengers. Does not even waste a nanosecond. So which means that sometimes our intention, we're still trying to cultivate pure intention of serving the Lord, trying to be humble. We're still not there, but we are trying. And Krishna sees that endeavor. So we see this example where here Ajamil is an example of action is there, but there's no intention. Just like Putana. Putana was breastfeeding Krishna, the little baby. The intention was to kill him, but Krishna ignored the intention and he saw that she's like a mother, she's feeding me. And Krishna accepted her. Ajamil is the second example of that. The other one could be that the intention is pure, but the action is impure. We all probably, ours might be intention is also not there, action is also not pure because we make so many offenses even while we are serving. But the example of Vidurani, when Krishna comes to eat at at Vidur's house, Vidur and Vidurani, the Dasi Putra, Dhritarashtra's and Pandu's younger brother, Vidur, she's looking at Krishna with full devotion in her heart, in her eyes, and she is peeling the banana peels and feeding peels to Krishna and throwing the bananas away. So that way, the action is not perfect, but the intention is so pure. Even Bhishma Pitama, when he's standing at the battlefield, everybody questions, the whole world questions, why is Bhishma standing at the opposite side of Pandavas? Why is he fighting against Krishna? And Krishna knows even Bhishma Dev's heart. When Bhishma Pitama, it is so heroic because everybody has a mood of service. His mood was to serve in mode of chivalry. He had Veer Ras. So he wanted to experience that and serve Krishna in that mode. So when he started shooting the arrows first went near the feet of Krishna. Just like looking at that incident, everybody will be like, oh, he's trying to attack Krishna, but he's simply paying obeisances through his arrows right now. And it is described in Bhagavatam that Krishna is taking those arrows as flowers being offered to him. So we cannot judge. Even here, the Yamadutas don't know that the past of, that will come further, but they don't know that there are some services that Ajamil has done. Only a pure Vaishnav will know. So we need to understand this, that we cannot judge just by the externals of a person, that this person is half a devotee, neophyte, Madhyamadikari, Uttamadikari. We are not the ones to decide that. But a real Vaishnav would know. And I think that's the job we leave to our spiritual masters. That's not something that we need to decide. But I really like this part where Krishna just accepts even if we don't have the intention. So even when we are chanting, most of the time the mind wanders around. But Krishna will see that you're chanting his holy name. You're trying, you're chanting. Even when we're serving, our object of surrenderance that time might not be Krishna. It happens, right? When we are serving, we might be cooking and we might be focused more on, oh, will this person like what I'm cooking? Will this person appreciate my cooking? And not thinking that, how can I make it the best way that Krishna will like it? We lose that intention, even while we are trying to serve. But that's the personality of Krishna. Krishna is such a Bhakta Vatsal that just seeing you endeavoring to serve him, it will purify you. So we don't stop at just impure action, pure intention, and vice versa. When you do this, when you keep engaging in these services, Krishna purifies you and elevates you to a platform eventually that pure intention and pure action is finally rendered by you. But you need to be in association with your devotional activities. So like we said, that atonement is kind of silly because it doesn't take away the propensity to commit sins again. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, when they came in Kali Yuga, he wanted to kill. Madai was the one who attacked, or Jagai, I think. One of them who attacked Nityananda Prabhu. And Mahaprabhu came with the chakra And Nityananda Prabhu stopped him because he said, this avatar of your, in previous avatars you may have killed Ravan, you killed Kans, you killed Hiranyakashipu, you killed all those demons. But Kali Yuga is the avatar where you kill the demoniac propensity, the propensity to commit sin. You don't kill the person here. So Mahaprabhu so Nityananda Prabhu is like, he's our Adi Guru. So our Guru, it's because of that, it was because of Guru that Krishna and a fallen living entity came in contact. Because no way Jagai Madai were going to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur used to go and preach. They used to go and preach every town and village. And now Nityananda Prabhu said, if I preach these two rascals who have committed all the sins in the world, if Mahaprabhu delivers them, there is so much hope. And so Mahaprabhu does that. And he takes away the propensity to sin. So, so even if these Yamadutas were third class and fourth class, they were not even humans. But they had this knowledge of dharma. And they were rightfully narrating it. That this is what they have heard from Yamaduta. And that is why we should see that position we need to acquire when we are hearing from somebody about scriptures. We need to become very small, even in life. We have this ego which is so big, bigger than this universe, apparently, that it doesn't allow us to become humble. This wonderful, wonderful video I saw yesterday of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. And he says that we have to become so small, just like the size of the soul. The tip of the hair, the 10,000th part of the tip of the hair is the size of our soul. That small we need to become. Meaning, that much humility we need to have. Because the gate of Goloka is this small, so you cannot enter. If you want to enter Goloka, that's the analogy Maharaj gives. That you need to become that small so that you can enter Goloka. If you have big ego, you're so big, you can't enter. So that is the position that we need to acquire. It will come with time, but we need to surrender. And that surrenderance will come through constantly hearing scriptures. Shruti, constantly hearing the instructions of the Lord. And even though Prabhupada said in this purport that Arjun was thinking violence is irreligious, right? I should not fight. That's what Arjun was thinking. But what is actually dharma? The instruction of the supreme instruction that is coming from the Supreme Lord, even if it means to kill somebody. But here, of course, we know all the reasons why Krishna instructed that. So that becomes highest dharma. And that is why, what is our highest dharma? What is our constitutional position? The constitutional position of the soul is to serve. It's our nature. We will serve. Right now, our service is misplaced. Our motive is to serve the Supreme Lord. Because that is what makes us happy, that is what makes us satisfied. And when we misplace this surrenderance, when we misplace this object of service, we surrender to we surrender to Maya. And that is why we are not happy, we are not satisfied, because we have not surrendered to Krishna. We are not serving Krishna. So this is our highest dharma, to serve Krishna, and that is our purpose of life. We need to remember this at all times. Jivira Swarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. We're constant servants, we're eternal servants of Krishna. So I think I will pause here, and if there are, I'm sure this is such an interesting chapter. So if anybody wants to add something, anybody has a question, can go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the really nice class. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada actually really valued this pastime. I don't know exactly the numbers, but I heard that when the sixth canto came out, he asked devotees to print a lot more copies of it than he had printed the ones before, because this pastime really illustrates the power of the holy name. And that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day, is like chanting Hare Krishna, you know. So just thought I would say that.
Thank you for adding. This is a very interesting pastime. It's something I've heard since, one of those pastimes, they are this and a lot of pastimes from Mahabharata. Since childhood that we've heard this, and since then everybody names their children names of Krishna and Radharani. But it's the right thing to do. But yeah, it's a very interesting pastime. Any comments, any more knowledge that you all can pour into this? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. It was a wonderful class. There is a correspondent verse found in Padma Puran. Aprarabdam phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukha. Kuta means inclination. That is what is spoken about here, right? By Shukdev Goswami. Parishit Maharaj asked the question. The propensity doesn't go away. So, in that particular verse, Krameneva hi praliyante Vishnur bhakti ratatmanam. Padma Puran says, Krameneva, step by step, aprarabdha, unmanifested, prarabdha, manifested fruits of our actions. Then kutam, which is inclination, phalam, and the fruits, all are destroyed, krameneva, krama, one by one, one after another. So, sometimes we may wonder, why karmani nirdhati, Brahma Samhita says, everything is destroyed, but it doesn't go away so easily. It happens. It's a scientific process, and it happens step by step. Krameneva, that is the word emphasized here. Praliyante Vishnur bhakti rata atmana, rati, attachment. When we develop attachment to the degree, we develop the attachment to Lord, Supreme Lord, to that degree, everything will be destroyed. I also have, I was looking at this picture and I just remembered how Prabhupada used to describe these beautiful paintings and pictures of Hare Krishna as spiritual window. I have a bunch of real stories of Yamdutas, but one I would like to have an urge to share.
Yes, please.
So, because we personally witnessed this. This was in 2003, I was in the bus party and we happened to visit one family, and they personally told that Mataji revealed this story, how she came to Krishna consciousness. So, she said she had a brother, older brother, who was working in Mumbai then, and she was in a small village where we happened to visit during the book distribution. So she had contracted kind of a weird disease. Nobody could diagnose it properly. So finally, it was such a debilitating disease that she just got bedridden, and she was utterly in despair, about to die. In that kind of situation she was in. So many doctors, Ayurvedic, allopathic doctors, they failed. So finally, there was one lady who knew black magic in that village, but she was a nice lady. She had a good disposition. So she started treating her, and she revealed to her that your brother, you're not aware, he just happened to come in contact with the devotees of Krishna. Wow. And because he's chanting the holy names, it is helping you. Otherwise, you would have been dead by now. So it so happened, in couple of weeks, the brother happened to come back to see her because he knew that she's laying in deathbed. So when he came, as he was sitting beside her, he informed her how he came in touch with the devotees, and he took out one book. Guess what? It was none other than Second Chance book. Oh. And as soon as she saw that book and the picture, she just jumped out of the bed. She didn't have any strength until then. She just jumped out of the bed and she said, I've seen these guys, I've seen. And vividly they looked just like they were in the picture, she said, she described. She was telling us personally. And she she had a shock of her life. The idea that I am so sinful that actually the Yamadutas came as per this story, just like for Ajamil they came. I am so sinful, and she felt so embarrassed, and she thought it was final call from Krishna. So then she surrendered, she became a devotee, and both of them, they got initiated. They are wonderful devotees.
Wow.
I mean, I met them in 2003, so you can imagine. Personally, we witnessed this. Many such real Yamaduta stories.
Yeah, we think these are just things that have happened once, you know, in some scriptures we see, but this is so much happening now. Thank you so much for sharing, Prabhu.
This also corroborates what Prabhupada said. These are spiritual windows, these pictures.
Windows to the spiritual world. I think one day we need to have a class where you can share all the amazing stories. I really want to. One class would not be enough. But the previous point that you made, that we also need to be patient. I think Nectar of Instruction says, right, Utsayat Nishchayat Dhairyat. So we cannot just be enthusiastic. Utsayat, that, oh wow, we are chanting, we are doing the morning program, we are doing everything, and we are not being patient with the transformation that will happen. It's just enthusiasm is there is not enough. There also needs to be patience and determination. Nishchayat is determination, Utsa is enthusiasm, and Dhairyat is patience. All three of these things are needed when we are practicing, and only patience is not good. It will make you complacent. Patience along with enthusiasm, along with determination. Because if determination is not there, then you'll be like, okay, I don't see anything happening. It's been so long. But we don't have to lose hope. So yeah, thank you for both the points. They were really helpful. Any other point or question? We still have 6 minutes. You can share anything that popped in your head during the class. Yeah.
I have a question. Is it enough to just put tulsi neck beads on someone and they're not gonna get taken away by Yamadutas?
You know, I think maybe Prabhuji can back me up on this, but I will say what I am aware of. But even like, yes, if you have, it is said that if you have kanti around your neck and you have tulsi, any Mahaprasad from Krishna, Yamadutas cannot touch you. Even in the dreams, they cannot come and touch you. That's what Prabhupada says. But even for that to happen, that is also Krishna's arrangement that will happen at the time of your death. Will that happen or not? Do we know it? That is also Krishna's arrangement. So when somebody asked in a class, oh, what if I say Hare Krishna and then shoot myself? Will Krishna come and take me? No. Because how do you know? You might shoot yourself and you might still not die. Because that's also the will of Krishna. Krishna knows how sincere you are. If sincerely you have practiced devotional mood in devotional service throughout your life, Krishna himself will arrange Antakale. At the time of death, he will arrange that he will remind himself to you. Because 15.15, right, that Krishna Smaranam comes from, remembrance comes from Krishna, and forgetfulness also comes from Krishna. Some people die just like that. They don't even have time to process what's happening. So what we have in our control is right now what we can do. And not that, okay, now I'm going to die, so let me just put tulsi necklaces and, you know, like just garlands from Kalachanji and do everything and just go inside Yamuna and no, still you might not get delivered so Krishna's will has to be there. I don't know if I was able to answer, but yeah, if Krishna nicely arranges that you have tulsi neck beads and tulsi with you, then Yamadutas cannot touch you. That's what I think. But if you have anything to add, yeah. Yes. Krishna, he's saying Krishna is the biggest. If you can be a cheater, he can be the most, like he can be the biggest cheat. You cannot gamble with him. You cannot fool Krishna. So, yeah. Our intention matters there. So how you live your life decides how you live your life. That's what we understand from all the scriptures, that we need to live our life following this philosophy, and and Krishna will take care of it. Because he just says, just surrender. That even 1 minute of surrenderance, Krishna will accept you. But we are not surrendering. He's waiting. Ajamil called Narayan once. Vishnu Dutas came, that he's our property. You cannot even touch him. They just came. We are making Krishna wait, but Krishna doesn't make us wait. That's such an important point, that we've been making him wait for lifetimes and lifetimes. He's there inside our heart, and we are the ones who are making him, okay, I'll see, just kal dekhenge, I'll see tomorrow if I want to surrender, next lifetime. We just keep delaying that. He's just waiting. And the moment we delay, he just comes back. He doesn't say, oh, this person has been not surrendering for so long, why should I come now? He's calling out to me. Even without intention, we called out to him, and Krishna will come. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up if there's no other point or question. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Kalachan ji ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhaktavatsal Krishna ki jai. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant koti Vaishnava Bhaktavrind ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Ram न प्रिय प्रिय करो निर्माण पूजितम् श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ चैतन्य कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मारव अंतरक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्री विचारणै कल्पना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरण करो विचारणै कल्पना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरण विचारणैकनिपुना तद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरण श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरण करो विचारण लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरण्यकरं राधा कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्दौ भजनामृतौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्दौ भजना नन्देन मत्तालिका वन्दे रूप सनातनं रघुजुगौ श्रीजी कीर्तन गान नतर परौ प्रेम मने धीर धीर जनप्रिय श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मारा महंत रखौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुग वासुदेव आजवदस जददाद रन्ना मंडलस्नी सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणे छतो करुणया मंडलपति शनि सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणे छतो करुणया कौपीन कंठास्थितौ गोपी भावरसामृताब्दलहरी गोपी भावरसामृताब्दलहरी कल्लो लमग्नं वन्दे रूप सनातनं रघुजुगौ श्रीजी पादपतले कालिंदी बने कह राधे ब्रजदेवी के चललिते हे नंद शून कुतः श्री गोवर्धन पादपतले कालिंदी